30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Monday in the middle of February. Boy, we couldn't ask for a whole lot better. And now the football season is over, and we move to a lot of other things that are going on in the world of sports. Let's start up on the plateau. Say hello to Coach Watson Brown. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm good. Last football weekend, so
Yeah.
you can start on withdrawals here pretty quick.
Yeah, you got about 6 months of it.
Yeah, we do.
Better get ready for it. Billy,
George?
that would be Billy Derrick.
Yep.
There he is.
I think we finally figured out the lighting here, George.
How much of the pregame show did you watch yesterday?
You know, not a
It's
whole
only
lot.
5 hours worth.
Yeah, they started at like noon and went all the way through. It was ridiculous.
Absurd.
I mean, I don't know how they kept figuring out things to talk about, but I know the Kelsey brothers were in the Super Bowl. I think I've heard that a few times.
Yes, that did come up. We'll obviously get to the Super Bowl in a little while. However, we say hello to a man full of humility. That would be the president, and I guess CEO. I hope I've got the title right. Let's say hello to our buddy Sean Henry, who joins us from his palatial office. Sean, how are you?
Well, I'm good. I know you think we should have retired that title when your hero Jeff Kogan left, but yeah, no, you got the titles correct. So, but
Or as you used to call him, my daddy.
I don't think I ever did that. You keep telling people that, but I don't think I ever did, man.
I think you did.
But
I'm pretty sure you did. So
but, I thought you were going to start the show off by just extolling my forecasting expertise.
we're going to just hold on a second.
All right.
Give it just a second because I want to
cut
help
it
you.
short. I don't want to cut your flattery short, Bubba.
I don't want to shortchange the fact the Preds are home tonight against the Arizona Coyotes at 7. It's Austin P night. They'll have a big group from Clarksville in here, but that has nothing to do with why we have asked Sean Henry on. Watson, I want to set the scene for you. Saturday, they had a viewing party out at the beautiful Ford Center, the Ford Ice Center out in Bellevue. And by the way, it is beautiful. So I get there about 11 o'clock, games at 11:30. And who do I run into? Pete Weber, my buddy Chase McCabe, and Sean Henry, who immediately starts in with his Vandy wins, the Chiefs win. Now, Watson, what do you think I said in retaliation?
Well, I don't want to use the exact words on the air, but believe me, you took that on big time. I promise you.
So
he called me so many names.
Yeah.
And then he's wearing a Vandy shirt. And all I said was, wow, big game for Vandy today. When they beat Florida, it's going to be pretty exciting. And he laughed and made fun of me and laughed and how dumb I am. And what do you know about basketball? I talked about 5 years with the Pistons. I talked about, being in the center of the Big East in the 80s. And he was just mocking me. He and Pete Weber and Chase McCabe, they were making me out to be the dumbest man alive.
they didn't agree with you either, did they?
No, they agreed with you on how dumb I was. Then what happened?
You tell us.
Well, I think Vanderbilt showed you guys who I knew who they were.
Oh,
One in Gainesville.
yeah. Liam Robbins, 32 points and 10 rebounds.
Player of the week.
Yeah. And then yesterday.
And then
Man, at halftime, I thought I was going to get even with you. Philly,
well,
24.
I asked everyone, who do you want to win? Who do you think will win? And the three of them jumped right on the bandwagon. Oh, Philadelphia's offensive line, defensive line, too great, blah, 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 blah. When I said who was going to win, again, they went on a Sean Henry mockfest. And And what happened, George?
You were right, and I was wrong.
And Chase and Pete, and you three get paid for your sports excellence in information, correct?
Bring Watson back in on
I
this.
think you guys should all forward your paychecks over to me this week.
If he's getting paid for his sports excellence, he's paying himself. I can tell you that. There ain't nobody else paying him for that, child. I can tell you.
Well, here's where all this started, and you've now heard the story. Several years ago, the Packers and the New York Giants were in a playoff game on a Sunday at Lambeau. On Saturday night, I'm sitting in Jeff Cogan's suite, and here comes Sean Henry chirping away about the Giants. And I told him, I said, "You're full of bull. The Packers are going to win." And, I expected that probably on Monday I would hear from Sean because the Giants waxed Green Bay. But this was during the game, and it was repeated over and over and over. Which is one of the reasons, if some of you are wondering, that I love dealing with Sean Henry, because you know what? If you're wrong, you got to admit it. You got to look him in the eye and say, "I was an idiot."
Well, you keep acting like it was a close game. It was 11 years ago, and I'm pretty certain it was a 3-score beatdown.
It was.
Giants over your team, and then we just went on and won the Super Bowl right after that.
Right. Why are you a big Giants fan?
Well, by the grace of God, I was chosen to be a Giants fan, but it's funny. My dad was a Jet fan, as my brother was. I grew up on Long Island, and the Giants played in Yankee Stadium, so I assumed I had to like them. And who doesn't like red, white, and blue? So, fortunate enough to become a Giant fan. Those two guys were miserable Jet fans, and my brother still is. And the best days of my life were watching the Jets lose, even more so than the Giants win. It's just a fun place to be with two teams and the rivalry that happened in our house and on the playground. So, rough years for both of us for a long time. But, the Giants are first. Red, white, and blue, baby. That's who we are. We're Americans.
I love it.
Original.
So gold mix in with red, white, and blue.
Oh, you should have seen me yesterday. Gold sweatpants on, a Lawrence Taylor jersey, Giant socks, and a Preds hat. You see me on Saturdays, George. I don't think much about a mirror.
Watson, you know what I think we ought to do?
What's that?
It just hit me. Since he's so damn smart, why don't we give him a week of plaster bets of the day?
I think that would be wonderful. We'll just see what he can do with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Sean, at the end of the show.
Hockey, though. So let's not get me fired, all right?
No. At the end of the show, we do a plaster bet of the day. Billy, would you go ahead and show him where I am?
I bet. I don't know how many games it is, but I bet it's less than a 300 winning percentage.
Take a look.
One game over 500.
I do not believe that.
Watson,
that's true.
Tell
You're
him.
0-2 this weekend.
Yeah, but only one of them counted on that thing.
Okay. All right. What is
I'm
today?
I'm not as dumb as you think I am. It's close. Very
What is
close.
today's game?
So we're going to win tonight?
That's the plan. That is the plan. It's going to be a fun night. We're honoring PK Subban. Welcome him back to Smashville. He did so much for us. Our best years on the ice were with him here and off the ice. What that gentleman did is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
He bridged communities together, always made everyone feel so special, always looked for solutions to problems and not just, yelling about them. I can't wait, to see him tonight. We get a chance to have a reunion of our Blue Line Buddies group. I think we have 50 police officers and 50 kids that met, over the past 4, 5, 6 years through PK's generosity, bringing them out to games together to kind of bridge the divide between too many neighborhoods and the police department. So it's a really special thing he put in motion, and then we kept alive because he allowed us to. So he really is just a special man, and I can't wait to see him tonight.
Agree totally. Is this a pregame ceremony or at some point between period? When will you all do this?
Well, so we're doing the reunion in meeting room, just for the officers and the kids and a couple friends, and then we have history bus on the plaza. Anyone could walk through pregame, and then he'll drop the puck tonight, and then he'll jump on TV and radio with us. He'll be all over. So it'll be fun all night.
He'll get a hero's welcome, and it's well deserved.
That it is. So we were laughing when I saw him this morning because he picked the Chiefs too. And I remember he was saying to me, "Can you imagine picking anyone but the Chiefs?" I said, "I know it, man. I know it."
Wow. Watson.
I got a suggestion, George. I'm not sure that it wouldn't be good for him to just replace you on Bet of the Day. It might be.
Well, I thought you meant replace him, period. Like it.
Well, I don't think you want the job, to be very honest.
Wow. Okay. I would assume we've had enough of this.
Yes.
Sean, you and I will pick out some week where your calendar is fairly empty.
Okay.
And have you do a week's worth of picks, and let's see how damn easy it is.
Oh, it's easy.
No, it's not easy.
To me, it is lately,
Mm-hmm. Lately. Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
George, man of your word, you said you would get me on and explain to the world how much smarter I am at you than at sport.
And you know what the sad thing is nobody is objecting to it. The six people out there going, well, duh, we know.
I know, but Chase was supposed to start his show with the same thing. I texted him at 9:04. I said, buddy, I didn't hear my name yet. He never gave the proper credit. So
you think Pete will do it tonight on radio?
Oh, that's what the pregame segment is, I'm sure.
Hey, see you tonight. You take care.
Bye.
See you, Sean.
He's one of my favorites. Have loved getting to know him. What I like is Watson. He's a needler.
Yeah.
I love that part of him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's constant. I can see that.
Oh, yeah. And if I ever get a chance to retaliate, you better believe I will.
Oh, yeah. Payback. I know you on that deal.
Yeah, it's an itch.
You notice he never really accepted that week's worth of bets.
He really didn't. And that's smart on his end.
He just sort of walked that line a little bit, never really accepted it.
No, we'll give him every opportunity. Okay. You want to go through the update? I know it may take a little bit longer than normal, but what the heck?
Let's do it. Obviously, we know what happened in the Super Bowl. We got a couple segments worth of that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but George, we got a lot of hoops shakeup over the weekend. After Purdue's loss to Northwestern yesterday, Alabama is the new number one for the first time in 20 years. They are the number one team in the country. Houston, Purdue, UCLA, and Kansas rounds out the top five, and Tennessee ends up at number 10. And who do they play Wednesday night?
Bama.
Alabama. That's the second top 10 matchup in Knoxville this year.
They better get their stuff together.
Yeah. Man, did you see the Missouri game?
No, but I saw the shot.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Back-to-back buzzer beaters. And George Vandy, Sean talked about it.
Yeah. Hold on. My gut feeling is Purdue's the best team in the country. I watched a bunch of that game yesterday. They folded at the end bad.
I didn't see any of it.
Yeah. The big kid. They got a big 7'4" Zach Edey.
Yeah.
He's going to be the college player of the year. Man, the improvement he's made, it's astounding to me how much better he is.
That drop step hook shot, that's unguardable. George, and we'll get to Vandy, of course, too, but they won their third straight game at Florida, 88-80. Liam Robbins, SEC Player of the Week.
Big win.
They're starting to turn a little bit of a corner. We'll see if they can keep it going. George, I thought I'd throw this MLB note in here. The Joint Competition Committee has voted unanimously to make the extra inning rule permanent. For all regular season games moving forward, a runner will be placed at second base at the start of every extra inning.
I hate it.
So it's official. I don't like it.
Okay, bring Watson in on this. Watson, to me, there's a better answer to this than what they're doing.
What's your answer?
You play to something like the 12th or 13th inning, and if it's still tied, call it a tie.
I'd be for that because these long games, I know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I know what they're trying to do as well, and I don't blame them.
Nobody wins with that. Both teams that's just not good. And the pitching you use up through those things, George, gosh almighty, that could set you back a whole week. It might set you back 4 or 5 games. So they got to do something with that. I get it, but I'm not sure you're not right. Go 12 innings or something, and that's it. Just call it. It's what the NFL's done.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the NFL did during the regular season.
This is a gimmick, and it's a weak one.
Yeah, a lot of baseball fans don't like it.
No,
don't
like it at all.
Not too many fans of this. George, to round it out, we got a couple NFL notes. The Colts have their new head coach, Eagles OC Shane Steichen. He's scheduled to fly to Indy this afternoon, where they are expected to finalize a deal. And all of a sudden, there's some teams that have found their head coach. Texans with D'Amico Ryans, Panthers with Frank Reich, Broncos with Sean Payton, Colts with Shane Steichen, and the Cardinals, either Lou Anarumo or Jonathan Gannon now.
Yes, they will announce before the summer solstice.
What do you think about Shane Steichen, though?
Yeah, who knows?
So a lot of people saying he was sort of the straw that stirred the drink there.
I'll give you a scoop. Here's a real, this is investigative stuff right here. This show has learned Jeff Saturday going back to ESPN. Book it.
You can book that.
He'll have a locker next to Herm.
He's had enough coaching.
Yeah.
George, last one here. The Jets are going to hire Todd Downing as their passing game coordinator. He was, of course, fired last month in Tennessee and was promoted from tight ends coach in 2021 after Arthur Smith's departure. But the Jets, they found their guy.
Ugh.
Good luck to them.
How can you sell that? And I don't mean to be ugly here. I don't know Todd, and deep down, I wish him luck. But he has just orchestrated the worst pass offense in the NFL. How can the Jets sit there and look at that and go, that's our man?
I don't know. I was shocked when I saw hiring him as tight ends coach. Okay. But passing game coordinator? Maybe running game coordinator, but because we did run the ball decent, but passing game coordinator? That's two of them that have done that now. Kelly got moved up from being the passing game coordinator to the offensive coordinator. So maybe it just means you need to be the worst in the league and you get opportunities. I don't know.
In a related note, look for the Jets to name Richard Todd as their quarterback.
What? Did you write all these down before the show started there? You just reading them off as you go?
Just quick-witted.
Quick-witted.
If you're going to deal with Sean Henry, you got to be quick-witted. Okay. So after the break, take 3 guesses what we're going to talk about.
I wonder.
The Orange Bowl from
the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Okay.
And here's the big question. How many songs did I know at halftime?
0.0.
No. The answer is 2.
Wow.
How about that?
More than I thought.
Yeah. Don't sell me down the road. Stay tuned. Super Bowl coverage continues after this.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to donleytimmons.com.
So we begin with congratulations for the new world champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Happy for Andy Reid. You know it had to be doubly special that he beat the club that fired him, the Philadelphia Eagles, even though he really did a good job of never allowing himself to go down that road. You know it's special. Watson, let's get to the big issue right off the bat of what was a great Super Bowl, but did not have the ending that a lot of us hoped it would. Let's look at the play, if we can, Billy, and
no, that's past it. That's past it, guys.
Is this not the penalty you're talking about?
Yeah, but it happened before that right there. It's when he was crossing across and then he whirled back out and he grabbed him by the shirt.
Oh, so you're saying that initial grab is
the first
what
grab is what they call, not that one right there.
Okay. This is, yeah, I know what you're talking
about.
That's
not the one they called.
You're saying even before.
It's like right before that.
So it was way before that, right as he made that cut.
It was right out of the cut, and you saw the shirt pull slightly away from him.
Okay, so I'm gathering that you agree with the call.
Well, I don't know that I do. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 with it.
Okay.
They hadn't called it the whole game. I think it was called for one reason and one reason alone. You go back in the first half, the Chiefs didn't get the ball but 3 times. The one time they got stopped right before the half, but they also the one time before that they got stopped was a 3rd down play, and the same receiver was crossing the ball, and the same defensive back reached out and grabbed him, and they called incomplete pass, and it was much worse than this one. Major holding call. Major holding call. It's the same dude that called the last play of the game. It's the same official. I think it was a makeup call because I think those guys go in at the half, and they get reviewed even at the half. And I'll promise you somebody's talking to them at the half. Well, we missed this right here. I think it's a makeup call. Nobody has said that. I hadn't heard anybody, but it's the same official. I think it's a makeup call. That's what I think.
Okay. And I don't doubt you're right because it was a 29-minute halftime. So unlike a normal regular season game where the halftime is either 12 or 13 minutes, they've got plenty of time if somebody wants to, get in the officials' ears from the National Football League. They absolutely would have had that time. So, Watson, go with me on this. Let's say that the pass is ruled incomplete. Casey kicks the field goal to go up 38-35, and Philly gets the ball back, assuming from their own 25, a minute 45 and 1 timeout remaining. What do you think happens?
I think they score. I think they score. Either it goes to overtime, they score. I don't know if it's 3 or 7. They just went right down the field on the series before, easily, right down the field and scored and went for 2 and made it to tie the game. And then Kansas City gets it and basically runs the clock out on that one play. So I think we'd have had a heck of an ending. And George, would you not say, and y'all hadn't spoke, you and Billy, but I think that call could have gone either way. I think they could have called it a no call. I think they could have called it holding. It wasn't pass interference because it happened much earlier than it looks there. So it could, that one that we're looking at would have been called pass interference. That ball's in the air. And so that one would have been called pass interference, which would have put the ball on the 1 yard line because the ball landed in the end zone. Well, no, it wouldn't either because the receiver wasn't in the end zone with the ball at the time. But it was called holding because the hole was long before the ball was thrown. And I think it could have been called either way. I think it just I think most officials would not have called that late in the game. We saw it the whole game. I mean, there's stuff like that going on the whole game, George.
Yeah.
The whole game. And the one that didn't call, I'm telling you, go back and look at it. You'll see it somewhere along the way. It's much worse than that one. It's much worse than that call right there.
So you want me to kind of tell you what I think on it?
Oh, absolutely I do.
This is very phony on my end because if I had a dog in the hunt in that game, there's a degree of pass interference that, or whatever you want to call it, defensive holding, that did go on in the play. However, I also sit there and say, as an official, there is no way I'm allowing me to decide this by that call. Now, if he tackled him, if he had, pulled his shirt halfway out and it ended up in Las Vegas, yes. But that's not what happened here. And I think deep down, even though the league's never going to say it, everybody got deprived of one of these fantastic finishes. And it would be fantastic either way. Does the Chiefs defense bow up and in 4-down territory stop Philly? I don't think so, but I've got no proof. Does Philly instead just march it right down and it's as though Sherman marched through Atlanta? I kind of think so. I think that's the kind of game this played out as, and I hated that I think we got shortchanged a little bit.
What I'm saying fits exactly what you're saying. If that early call hadn't happened, I don't think that guy makes this call because that was a big stop. That was a big stop.
Ooh,
in the game when he did not call it on the same receiver and the same DB and the same official. And yet he calls it the second time. And I just don't think he could live with letting it go twice after he's probably been jumped at the half for not calling it the first time. And but I'm with you. If that first incident hadn't happened, I don't think he makes that call right there. I just don't think he does.
Watson, let me ask you this. As a play caller, Andy Reid, as a quarterback, Mahomes, do you anticipate that maybe we get a call here on this cut? Maybe we get that call, or no? Are you not even thinking about that at all?
No, they double moved the fool out of them all night long.
Isolating.
And all the double moves came inside the 20 or around the 20, where Philadelphia is so dang predictable. Is they got out coached, guys. They got out coached in that game bad. Philadelphia just kept sitting there in vanilla defenses. Out in the middle of the field, they play zone coverage, a little man. They get to about the 20, they play all man. They play man free. They didn't ever rush more than 4 nearly all night long. They weren't getting there a lick and never tried anything different. Never tried anything different. And Andy had great plays for man coverage down close to the goal line. I mean, and they were all double moves. Both of those scores where the guy starts in and then stops and comes out, that's a double move. And he had them, man. I mean, they had no clue. They had no clue. It's embarrassing the way they tried to cover that play, which he ran it once to the right with Tony and then once to the left with Moore. Same play, exact same play. Then the double move that Kelsey caught for a touchdown. That's an out and up, wide open. And then that last one was a start across the field, stop and wheel out and go up the boundary and go up the boundary. And he reached out and grabbed him. So all 4 of those created scores. And Philadelphia made no adjustment whatsoever anywhere in the game. In my personal opinion, that's where I don't say that very often, This Super Bowl was coaching. And Andy Reid and the defense for the Chiefs guys, bringing them from everywhere. They were aggressive.
Oh,
they didn't
were
sit
really
there.
aggressive.
I mean, honestly, Jalen Hurts got out of a ton of free guys, and he just rolled out, dodged them, whatever. I mean, he played, other than that one turnover, he played one heck of a game. And but the Chiefs brought people. They really tried to bother the Eagles. The Eagles kept sitting there and didn't do anything. Rushed 4 and never came close all night long. The Chiefs' offensive line. Other thing I learned, George, real quick, if I'll watch this, I'm not a bettor, but I'm learning. You get 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks, and everybody, the media, everybody is bragging on these people and putting down these people. You hear that for 2 weeks, one side's really motivated and the other side's kind of patting their chest. And all I heard, the offense and defensive lines, and I said it, the offense and defensive line are much better than the Chiefs. And I tell you, that Kansas City Chief offensive line, man, they nailed them. And I didn't see that look and that aggression in that Philadelphia Eagle defensive line. It was like they came in patting their chest and we're something special, and they got it handed to them. Scored every time they had the ball in the second half. Every time.
Okay, if you're the head coach of the Eagles, you have watched 30 minutes of football, first half, where Patrick Mahomes could have sat in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
They never came close to him. It was stunning to me how little pressure he was under. So at halftime, if you're the coach of the Eagles and you've got 29 minutes, this is not a 12-minute deal. This is 29 because of the concert.
Right.
Don't you go to your defensive coordinator and say, listen, we got to scrap this. It ain't working.
I think the defense coordinator ought to come to the head coach and say, hey, Nick, we're going to have to bring some pressure in the second half. We are, for some reason, we are not getting there. And I think part of the reason they weren't getting there, because neither team got there, but part of the reason they weren't getting there, that field was awful. And a defensive line trying to push off and rush with that old slick field now, that'll take away from it. That will hurt you in pass rush. I don't think that's all of it by any means. But I think the motivation, and I couldn't believe, George, the Eagles kept getting killed inside the 20 and kept running the same coverages. They'd either run man free or blitz, what I call blitz man, zero man, nobody deep. But it's man coverage, and the Chiefs killed them. I mean, they're not open. They're wide. All 3 touchdown passes, there wasn't a green shirt in the screen when he caught
I could have caught him.
Can you imagine that in Super Bowl? I can't. I don't. You know me. I'm not much to get on coaches, but that game, Andy Reid's bunch, on both sides of the ball, totally outcoached the Eagles. And the Eagles are a run-first team. I'm listening to everybody after the game say, well, the Chiefs stopped the Eagles' run. No, they didn't. The Eagles didn't try to run. They were throwing much more than they normally throw. And I didn't understand that in the second half. You got a 10-point lead. First time you get the ball, you call one run, you punt it right back to them. After they've scored, and you're only up 3 at this point. Eat the clock, run the ball, do what you do best. I just thought the coaching by Andy Reid in this game, I don't think I ever remember a Super Bowl where one side of the ball outcoached the other side like this.
Okay. Something got brought up a minute ago that is another one of these sideshows, and we're going to talk about it after the break. How the NFL could sit there with 110 million people watching, ratings out the kazoo, whatever that means, and put together a nickel playing surface. How? We'll talk about it next. Area colleges and universities have a designated Preds game this season, And Austin Peay State University Govs fans, you're on the clock for Monday night, February the 13th. Students, alumni, and fans are invited to celebrate. College Night Series ticket packages include a Predator game ticket and a limited edition co-branded hat. Tickets can be purchased at NashvillePredators.com/college nights. I know it's getting colder. You're not thinking about golf. However, if you're planning an event for next year, let me suggest golf through Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. It's perfect for hosting a corporate or a charitable outing. They've got everything in place to make your event a rousing success. To get more info, call 615-847-5074 or go online to riversidegolflinks.com. Jody Jones has as nice a dental facility as you'll find anywhere. Let's go in and take a look. Are you in the market for a new dentist? Maybe you're new to Nashville? Well, the place to go is Jody Jones Dentistry at 55 Music Square East, and their new facility is absolutely state-of-the-art. Jody mixes quality with comfort for the perfect dental experience. He's trusted for his creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile. Jody is simply the total package. Don't wait. Make an appointment now at 615-259-5100. Well, as you can imagine, the NFL in the wake of yesterday's Super Bowl, and by the way, we'll try to get you some TV numbers here in a little while. Billy, if you do get the chance, let me know what it looks like.
Gotcha.
From the rating standpoint. But yesterday is an absolute money-making machine for that league. They're charging over $1,000 a ticket. The people buying ads are paying something crazy like $4 million for a 30-second commercial. I mean, it's just staggering what goes on here. And yet, when the game starts, all that money didn't mean a dadgum thing. And most of you know that the league has caught hell for the surface. One of the Eagles described it as playing on a water park. It was so bad. So, Watson, I don't pretend to be, you'll love this word again, an agronomist.
Ooh.
Yeah. But you know a lot about, putting in grass fields. How in the world did they not a couple 3 days early say, whoa, we got a problem and we've got to fix it?
I don't know, George. And this has been an issue before. This wasn't the first time issue in that stadium.
In this stadium.
Yeah, this has been an issue. There's been regular season issues. There's been other Super Bowls this was issues in. That there was complaints for when Seattle and they had three great Super Bowls, by the way. It was Seattle and the Patriots that one year that Russell Wilson got picked off late.
The Malcolm
that
Butler
was one of them. And I think the Giants and the Patriots when Eli Manning throws that great catch was made going in to score to win the game. All of those were in this stadium. And I know I can remember fussing about it then. I don't know. And it was obvious it had an effect in the game. The last play of the game, Jalen Hurts is trying to throw a deep ball, and his front foot slips.
Right.
And he throws a 30-yard ball in the ground. I mean,
right.
Come on. You know that's not going to happen. He's going to throw that thing in the end zone. At least we get to see what happens. But he slipped on the last play of the game. And I don't know. I was very disappointed. Players changing shoes all through the game.
Yes.
When you got this big a deal, and this is probably the biggest deal in all of sports, as far as you're right, importance, money, eyeballs watching it, this is the biggest deal. And all you got to do is find a way to have a good grass surface. The guys on the screens, the guys calling the game kept saying it was the paint, but it wasn't. They weren't hitting the paint; they were hitting anywhere on the field, and they were slipping.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't in just the painted areas at all. Matter of fact, I mean,
There were big, long divots in the field from.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, you saw the kickoff after when the Eagles tied the game, or was it the Chiefs who took the lead, and their kickoff guy fell down.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it
was,
was, but
it
the
was
ball
Philly's.
did get to the end zone. That could have been a huge play in the game.
Yeah, it was Philly's kicker.
It was Philly's kicker.
Yeah, here we are trying to see if Jalen Hurts can step up arm strength wise and get the ball down to the goal line.
Yeah, 60-yard throw about. Yeah, 60
and he gets it about 35 yards because he slipped.
He slipped.
What an embarrassment.
Yeah, that's just they got. I don't know. It's easy to say after the fact, but somebody, whoever's in charge of that, and I really get upset about it because it's been addressed before. There's been an issue before. I don't know if it's ever been addressed. There's been an issue in this stadium before with the grass.
So that's an area where the league has absolutely caught unmitigated crap. Watson, if Kansas City takes the opening kick of the second half and doesn't score, today are the Eagles your world champion?
Maybe. I'm not sure. The Chiefs totally control the game. Other than the Eagles' one drive, the Chiefs control that game in the second half on both sides of the ball. And the game plan, the thought process that Andy Reid had start in the second half, brilliant, because he had to adjust. And it wasn't something that the Eagles were doing. He had to adjust because of Patrick Mahomes' injury. So he comes out in the second half, throws real quick passes, all kind of rhythm throws where you don't have to move around, and he runs the ball. And it works. They rushed for 158 yards against that Eagle defense. And he runs the ball well, throws rhythm passes, and they cannot slow him down. He gets in rhythm, and he just starts 1, 2, 3 throw, 1, 2, 3 throw, little play action pass throw. I mean, picking them apart, throwing it to everybody all over the field. But George, the thing that shocked me was the way they ran the ball. And that's not the Chiefs, but they killed the Eagles at their own game. They rushed for 158 yards in the game. If you had told me that during the week, I would not have been picking the Eagles. If I was told the Chiefs were going to rush for 148 yards. But that's the brilliance of Andy Reid to me. And I heard Mahomes say that after the game. I heard Kelsey say it after the game. They're interviewing Kelsey, and they say, how do you get open so well against everybody? And he said, you learn the coverages. You learn how there's only certain ways they can double team you in man. There's only certain ways they can double team you in zone. But he said, basically, it's called Andy Reid. He can get me open. He'll do something every week to come up with something to get me open. Patrick Mahomes pretty much said the same thing.
Okay,
George, I think
Watson, stop there a second. Let me ask this, though. When Kelsey caught 14 balls against Jacksonville, they're all hotly contested. In this game, it's just him being wide open in the middle, splitting two seams of a zone, and nobody within striking distance. I mean, hell, I could have done that.
Yeah, and then they'd leave him and go to Smith-Schuster for a while. And then they'd go to somebody else, then they'd come back to Kelsey again. I mean, they picked them apart. They totally picked them apart. I think Andy Reid arguably is the best offensive coach that's ever been in the NFL. I strongly believe he is the best passing game coach that's ever been in the NFL. period, bar none. He is the best. He can do more things throwing the football than George, anybody I've ever seen. I would love to have studied under this man because he does things that, that's a good idea. And this is a guy that's thrown the football for 40-something years, and I'm sitting there saying, oh, man, that's a good idea right there. I mean, he's just unbelievable to me. I hope he doesn't get out. I really do. I hope he stays another year.
By the way, he said today, Billy, that he will be back next year.
Did he
really?
Good.
Yeah.
And by the way, this win cements what should have been obvious already. He will be in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No doubt.
This cements you.
Yeah.
They said that good after the game because I 100% agree. A lot of people win one. That's hard, real hard. I never come close. A lot of people win one, but you become a different thought process when you win two or more. You're a different thought process at that point. He solidified himself as one of the all-time greats last night, in my opinion. And I don't think he's through yet. I think with that quarterback, I don't think he's through yet.
Do you start thinking about Belichick and Brady and what they were able to do?
That's a long ways off there, Billy. That's how many Belichick won? 7?
5?
6.
6?
5, 6, 7.
together.
I don't know. That's a long ways off now.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think Andy hangs around near that long. I think Andy is
think
really considering getting out.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll last much longer.
That's what everybody was talking about after the game. Is this it for Reed?
Well, he came back either late last night or this morning and said, if they'll have me back, I'll be back next year. Well,
they'll damn sure have you back.
Oh, I think our show has learned that the Chiefs want Andy Reid back.
This just in.
Breaking news.
More breaking news. I mean, what was the other one we broke? Oh, Jeff Saturday. We've come with some darn good stuff today.
A lot of breaking news.
A lot of breaking news. Why don't we have a good sounder? We need a sounder.
We need a sounder bad. Oh, we got one to buzz us when we don't do good.
Oh,
Why can't we get a breaking news sounder?
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So Watson, how in the world could Philly feel good about the fact that their defense, whether it just simply was coaching non-aggression or players who didn't show anywhere near the oomph that we've seen out of them, how can they feel good about this?
I don't think they do down deep inside on the defensive side of the ball. Now the offense scores 35 points.
Sure.
And Jalen has one bad play. I would also say, George, would you not put that up there right at the top of quarterback play on both sides? Name me a Super Bowl where both quarterbacks played that well. One turnover in the game. It was a big one. And it was a touchdown. But Jalen played great. He's 70% over 300 yards. That last drive, some of those throws were on the money. Some of those throws to Goddard, his tight end, in crowded areas now. Beautiful throws. Jalen played really well. Matter of fact, his coach said after the game he thinks it's his best game of the season.
He put some balls in windows that, if we go back to his Alabama days,
we never thought we'd see that.
Oh my God, where we didn't think he was anywhere near accurate enough.
Yeah.
To watch the tight windows he got balls in yesterday blew my mind.
Even though they didn't win last night, Watson, I think he proved, Jalen Hurts, he still has a lot to prove. I think he proved as a passer that he's made strides and he's made those steps instead of just people saying, oh, he's with a great offense. Like he's taken those steps.
The winner of the game the MVP is going to be the quarterback of that team. He would have been it if they had won the game.
Yeah.
He would have been the MVP if the Eagles had won the game. No, I would probably say, I'm trying to think back, that might be the best two quarterback performances of any Super Bowl. Stats would probably prove that in that game. One turnover between them in the whole game. One turnover.
I thought a turning point might have been Tony's punt return.
Oh,
that really sort of turned everything for the Chiefs, where the Eagles started thinking, they're making the big plays that they need. And Tony's punt return, I thought, was that big play that sort of gave them that extra step and extra oomph in them late.
Yep. Mistakes, Billy, and special teams. The turnover, the one turnover in the game, the mistake made right before the turnover. I don't know if you all remember it. It's a quarterback sneak, and he makes all of them. It's a quarterback sneak, and his right guard jumps off sides. So that turns it into 3rd and long, and now he fumbles the ball, and it's a touchdown the other way. And that punt, Kern didn't get to go. An old Titan didn't get to go because the original punter came back from an injury. That was an awful punt. Just a low line drive, awful punt. And it was all on Tony. That was not a right return. They had missed their blocks. He goes left. All the green shirts follow him. He reverses, and now all of his people are standing there and say, let's go. And he takes off down the sidelines. That was done completely by the punt returner, by far and it was the longest return punt in the NFL Super Bowl history.
How about that?
Wow.
How about that? Now, what do we got? What was this, number 57?
Yeah, 57.
And
that's
crazy.
The longest punt return in Super Bowl history.
Mahomes
the Chiefs did it all in the second half, and their defense isn't getting enough credit either. They got 2 or 3 big stops in the second half.
We're going to talk about that.
Was set up by a stop, and
we're
they had
that.
The Eagles backed up when he caught that ball. He caught it about midfield, maybe his own 40, something like that.
And you mentioned the long punt return, Watson. Patrick Mahomes had the longest run by a quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, which that really surprised me.
I couldn't believe that. Yards. Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Yards.
Well, here's what I don't get on Philly's defense. Watson, when he gets hurt, my golly, to start the 3rd quarter, I am sending the kitchen sink. I want to know what he can or cannot do.
George, I'm with you. I couldn't believe the whole game. They got away with it in the first half because they kept the ball so long. Their offense did such a good job of keeping the ball, and the Chiefs just, Patrick got hurt on that last drive right before the half, so they don't get any points out of it. And how do you just keep sitting there the whole game and not bring anybody? You're getting no pressure, and it's the best quarterback. It's the NFL MVP over there throwing the ball with a bad leg, and you don't put any bodies around him. I don't know. I sit there, and you know me. I usually am defending.
No, I'm shocked at how far you've gone today.
This one to me, I've not seen one this far that Eagles made no adjustments. Chiefs made them all. All of them were right. And it was the difference in the game. Totally the difference in the game. And Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable. He is such a competitive kid. And the pain threshold he must play with, guys.
He got a nice little shot at halftime.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I've always been told you can't shoot a high.
He had to have. Something.
Yeah, I mean, he did look like the one that left the field at the half. I'll agree with you. Yeah. But I've always been told. Now, I'm never in with when somebody has got to put a painkiller or something in a player. I've never seen that. But I've always been told you can't shoot that up. I don't know. I know this, one way or the other, he was in some kind of pain. And to come back out and make the plays he made in that second half, unbelievable.
It's a miracle.
Miracles do happen, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Let it heal.
A couple of things we're going to get into when we start the 3 o'clock hour. We're going to get into what adjustments the Chiefs made, because late in the 3rd quarter, early in the 4th quarter, it became very apparent that they were sending half of Missouri and Kansas at Jalen Hurts and always forcing him to roll to the left, which is not the place that a right-hand quarterback would want to go to. And we're also going to go back and look at the play at the end, and I'm going to give you something that I think is one of the smartest things I have heard, and I had never thought about it. So stick around. There's plenty more coming. This is the George Plaster Show. That's me.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Oh,
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you. Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general. Baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised. And, of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the first hour here on Reaction Monday. Coming up, stat of the day. It's brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. You can find them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5. Also Saturdays on the weekend, 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. Again, that's 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what we got today. George, we're going NFL. In 2022, this past season, Patrick Mahomes won regular season MVP, Super Bowl MVP, led the NFL in passing touchdowns, and led the NFL in passing yards. Only 3 players have done that in a whole career, what Mahomes did in this season. Who are they? Only 3 other, and obviously they're quarterbacks.
Watson, would Joe Montana be one of them?
Yeah, I think so. Brady's got to have done it once, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brady,
Montana. What about Brett Favre?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I want to try this. Well, okay. I'll eliminate one I was thinking of because the Super Bowl didn't exist. Let's go with those 3. Let's go with Mr. Favre.
So Brady, Favre, and Montana.
Watson, you like those?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got one of them right, Brady. The other 2, Peyton Manning and Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner on the year that probably the year that they beat the Titans.
Yep.
So Good question.
That's a real good question. There.
Yeah, I found that earlier today.
Very well done.
It's incredible. He did that all in one season.
Yeah. Whew. Amazing. So as we start the 3 o'clock hour, I want to come with a note real quickly that I should have done near the start. A great University of Tennessee employee, Gus Manning, passed away Sunday at the age of 99. How about that? What an amazing life. A guy that, Watson, I know you've dealt with him.
Yeah.
I dealt with Gus. What a piece of work he was.
No, he's a legend up on the hill, George. There's no doubt a legend. They've had many legends up there, but Gus would be up there with any of them. I promise you don't hear anybody saying anything bad about Gus Manning.
Oh, no. No, absolutely
Was
not.
he at Vandy at
No.
one point too?
No.
No? I thought I
Not
heard
that I ever remember. No.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
The last remaining administrative link with direct ties to General Robert Nealand.
Wow.
Wow. He retired in 2000 after close to 50 years of full-time service to the University of Tennessee, maintained an office in Thompson Bowling until 2017, and held the title of consultant athletics director until his passing. He served 8 athletic directors and 11 football coaches during his time at Tennessee. What an amazing life that man had.
That's all I keep hearing about him.
As soon as I heard that, George, just a smile came on my face because we've all been around Gus, and he's always at the top of the party wherever he is, wherever he was, and he could tell a story with the best of them.
Oh my God! At SEC tournaments, afterwards in the press room, or the hospitality suite at the hotel, Gus was front and center stage.
Yep.
Okay.
We ready, George?
No. Oh no. We got more. No.
Oh, not yet?
Oh no. Bag that. Bag that. We got more first. Billy, I want you to show the play again.
Well, Watson.
Don't worry about Watson. Ignore Watson. Listen, pay no attention to him. I'm your daddy.
Okay.
Now, you can stop. You can almost stop it there, can't you? Watson, one of the smartest things I have heard came from Rob Ninkovich, the former Patriot. Billy, are you able to show this again?
Yeah, it's coming back up again. This is the next play, but it'll come back up again.
When you watch the play, you will notice that the guy has on green gloves. Ninkovich's point is that knowing that the Chiefs wear white, you got to wear white gloves. Watson, I'd never thought about that.
You see, you can't do that in college. You can't have a glove the color of who you're playing. That was a college rule. I don't know when that might have changed, but you brought up something that they will not let you do on defense or in offensive lineman. You can't do that. Now that may have changed. I don't know.
In this game, there was a point where Kansas City went from one level of aggression on defense to a totally different one. I noticed late in the third quarter, I was like, dadgum, they are bringing people, and every time they do, Jalen Hurts is having to roll against his body. And I'm guessing that was a plan. That wasn't happenstance.
No, I think they're a good blitz team anyway through the season, but they brought more in the second half. I think they went in at the half and says, we're going after them. We're not going to sit here and just lose this game. We're going after them. See if we can get some stops. And either Jalen was not handling the pressure proper, George, I don't know. But there's a free guy running at him, and he's running for his life. Most of the time, you're right, it was coming from his right side, forcing him left. But even somewhere to his left where he wheeled out and came back around the blitz from the left and ended up on the left side. Every time he went to his right, he completed a lot of balls. To his left, he didn't complete many. And but I give the Chiefs again, George. That's where I'm coming from. Both sides of the ball, the differences in the second half adjustments, night and day from one side of the field to the other.
Okay, so immediately you get all this, oh, they're going to be a dynasty, and Caesars has them as the lead team next year with the best shot to win it all. Watson, I've believed, and this pretty much proves what an idiot I am, that one of the things that the Chiefs have struggled with is the fact that without Tyreek Hill, they have become a 10 yard at a time offense, and that only Mahomes' brilliance has allowed that to work, and that a year from now, they better get a burner on the outside. Do you buy that at all?
Yeah, I do buy that. I think they will. I'm not sure Tony can't become that burner. He's fast. He can fly. He just came in mid-season. What a great pickup that was. He can fly, but I do think they will go after another receiver. If they can keep this offensive line intact, they spent so much of their money last year, George, on offensive linemen.
Right.
And they started the year slow up there. They weren't very good up front. And then as that season went on, but to call the Chiefs a dynasty with the quarterbacks right now in the AFC, I don't think you can go there. I mean, the Bills quarterback, the Chargers quarterback, the Bengals quarterback. There's too many great quarterbacks floating around the AFC. I don't think you can say there's a dynasty on its way with that many good players that can match Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Speculate for me. The Eagles land. They do whatever they do. I don't think it'll be like when the Titans lost in the Super Bowl and there was a parade for that achievement. I don't see that happening in Philly. What I do see is the head coach going into a room by himself and realizing exactly what you said. We got badly outcoached. Why did it happen? Why did I let us defensively sit there in a coma? What do you think this week is like in Philly?
It's the life of a coach that loses. The bigger the game, maybe a little more it is, but it's the same. I mean, you just feel awful, and you're looking in a mirror and say, what do we got to do to change this? The good ones do. And how can we improve this for next year? What would we do if we played them again tomorrow? That's what you do. I promise you, the Eagles coach did it all night. He probably didn't sleep a lick. I could always sleep really well before a game. After games, that's tough. It's tough, and I didn't sleep very well. I'm always thinking about this, thinking about that, and I promise you, he's a good football coach, very good. To get them where they were this year,
totally agree.
He's a very good football coach. He's emotional. He's got a little cockiness that rubs off on his players. I think he's a very good football coach, but he's young. He's not been through what Andy Reid's been through. And I would like to think he would win. He would take a lot from this game, look at what Andy did, and get them better. From what they were saying last night after the game, George, they've got a lot more free agent issues than the Chiefs do.
They sure do.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see if the Eagles can put together another team like this. And they got to pay Jalen Hurts a lot of money. That's going to eat up a lot of their money.
Billy, did you learn anything on ratings numbers?
So the halftime show with Rihanna, that apparently drew 28.5 million viewers. And of course, I think when people figured out she was pregnant, I think they might have tuned in after that. Yeah,
but what does that mean? Because in theory, 100 million or somewhere around there probably watched this game.
Yeah, they haven't officially released. I haven't seen any official numbers on the game yet. But
did 75 million turn the TV off?
I think some diehard football sports fans probably did. But I don't know.
Really?
That's the only number I've seen on a rating, but that was just the halftime show. So
Yeah, that's an
I would
interesting.
think always, not this one, but all of them, that there's not near the people watch a halftime show that watch the game. That's what I think. That's the time you usually go get you something, grill you a hamburger or whatever, and come back to watch the second half. I would bet if we went back and looked it up, I'd like to know if I'm right about that, but I'll bet you the numbers are always down on the halftime show compared to the game.
Yeah, because especially with a lot of the streaming, George, people might be watching on their phones or laptops or iPads. They may turn it off and then log back in. So maybe they're accounting for that as well. It is interesting how low it might be.
George, one more thing to bring up about the Chiefs.
Okay.
In the past 2 years, who's been the team to play them the best?
The Titans.
The Titans.
Yep. Beat the snot out of them
Bengals,
here.
The Titans and the Bengals. The Bengals played them well.
I was thinking about that too, Watson.
Titans. I think the thing they still struggle with the most is old hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. That's what I still think they struggle with, and it's obvious we're going to stick with what we're doing. I hope we can get back and challenge those guys again next year.
It's got to be hard for the Titans and Vrabel watching that, saying, man, we've been so close to beating the Chiefs. We've beat them before, and, they're in our conference. Not saying there aren't other good AFC teams, but for the Titans, you feel like you can match up with them. And you look at that and say, on a good day, we can beat them. So maybe we do go down, make a run of the playoffs, and it's attainable. So I was thinking about that too, Watson, just how maybe not so far the Titans are from that.
Keep your defense in place and fix that offensive line and bring us one receiver, one guy. That is if they're bringing Ryan back. And but then I also thought a little bit on the Titans. A.J. Brown was the difference in the Eagles this year.
He sure was.
He's the difference for them. If they hadn't had him all year, it's a difference, and he's a difference maker. That play he made on that post corner, on that long touchdown pass, was absolutely beautiful. I mean, that's a big, strong guy, judging the ball well. He was double teamed, and you think Jalen don't trust him? He just threw it up because he knows AJ ain't gonna let him catch it. He may not catch it, but he ain't gonna let them catch it.
Billy,
and, what A.J. Brown did for the Eagles, to me, well worth the money. Well worth the money.
So, yes, the Titans scared the daylights out of KC on that Sunday night at Arrowhead. And, did they have a chance to win even with Malik Willis?
With Malik Willis.
Did. But when they went to Philly, they got the snot kicked out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
And if you allow, here's the interesting part.
Tannehill played that game, best I remember.
Yeah. Could they get, they clearly got Kansas City in their type of game. They also clearly didn't get Philly into that type of game. So if you got to score in the upper 20s or the 30s to win, the Titans aren't your team.
Well, but you look at the way they played the Chiefs, that's what the games were. They were kind of in that low 20s, right in that range, George, where the Titans hang. The Chiefs were probably one touchdown down to their what they normally score in games when they played the Titans. I think that the Bengals and the Titans are the two. I promise you, the Chiefs don't want any part of the Titans right now. They've yet to figure them out just yet. And the Titans were one of the first teams I saw to back off of them and make them throw it underneath. And Patrick, that one year when we did beat them, the 1 year he wouldn't throw it underneath. He kept trying to force it down the field and getting sacked. Right. Y'all remember?
Yep.
And from that point on, a lot of people started playing them that way. And then the Bengals come in and rush 3.5. They came up with a plan to which I think is a great thing in the NFL. They rushed 3, and the fourth lineman was sitting there, and as soon as the quarterback would take a step one way or the other, he rushes. So it's 3.5 rushers. He wasn't spying. He was a late rusher. It bothered the fool out of the Chiefs. They did a little better with it this past go-around with the Bengals. But the Chiefs have had trouble, and for some reason last night, The Eagles wanted no part of any of those styles. That's the other thing that drove me nuts. You've seen these other people that's bothered the Chiefs, but you pat your chest and come in, George, and say, they're not good enough to beat us anyway. And that's what I think's the difference in their heads this morning. They said, ooh, they were good enough to beat us.
They were good enough.
Yep.
They did just enough. It's almost like the Chiefs, they knew what they had to do, and they did it.
What they do, though, Billy, it's Patrick Mahomes. It seems like that's every game. They do just that enough.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the Bengals, and Patrick has to scramble and make a first down, and the Bengal defensive lineman hits him late out of bounds, or who says they're even in the Super Bowl? And again, it's Patrick Mahomes making a play with his feet late in these ball games.
Crazy.
I remember when they beat us. How did they beat us? Patrick's feet late in that game won the game. I mean, it's the Chiefs are unbelievable. And how many close games do those guys win? Seems like when they lose, they get beat pretty good, like the Bucs a couple of years ago. The Bucs beat them good that night, physically beat them. That's the way I think you beat the Chiefs. You just got to manhandle them.
And Mahomes said after the game, he said, I wish I could have started off better, but I feel like I play better when we got to come from behind. And I feel like he's right, Watson. I feel like every time, big games, they've been down, and they've got to claw back.
There's one guy that you would take when the heat's on and you got to score to win. It's him.
It's him.
I don't care, because he can beat you in so many ways.
He is living
so many ways he can beat you.
He's living proof of how much of an impact a quarterback can make. I mean, he shows it every game.
Well, and that's the part that's the NFL has changed. George and I are old enough to know that. That wasn't the case back before. Now quarterbacks are it. You've got to have one of those dudes, or you're not going very far. You've got to have one, and that's why everybody's fighting to find the right one.
It used to be a 20-17 league, and what it is now is a game. It's a league that has incorporated way more college stuff than I ever dreamed they would do.
You're right.
And, they used, you can't do that. You'll get your quarterback killed and blah, blah, blah. Watson, they have thrown that book in the ocean.
They have, George, and they nearly had to, because they're drafting these quarterbacks out of college that's what they do. So they've kind of had to change their offenses to match their quarterbacks. I don't know that the NFL is looking at college saying we want to go do that. I think they're having to do it. That was 2 college offenses playing last night. Both of them played really well in the game. 2 different style of college offenses that were playing each other last night.
Real quick, George, I know we got to go to the break, but
we're good. Go ahead.
I'm so glad Terry Bradshaw was the guy to interview Andy Reid. Did you guys see what he said to him?
Did he say, go get you a cheeseburger?
Well, no, he didn't say that, but he said, come over here, big boy, waddle over here. Come on. I was like, what? Only Terry Bradshaw could have said something like that. I know they're probably good friends.
Oh, I'm sure they are. And Terry waddles at everything he does. So he was just.
Yeah. My thing was, you're just as big as him, Terry.
Wow.
But I love it. I think you need more of that after a Super Bowl.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, we'll go to the break, and then when we come back, we'll do a little studs and duds, and then we'll have the Plaster Bet of the Day, or is it someday going to become Sean Henry week?
Could it be?
If you don't know where I'm going, after this is over, go back to the beginning where we had some real fun. Stick around.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, Go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Yes. Studs and duds for yet another week. Yeah, I like a new color scheme.
Yeah, a little bit. Went a little bit fancy.
What caused that?
Well, it's the color scheme. I thought I'd switch it up a little bit, make it a little bit better looking.
Yep.
But George,
we need some upgrade.
We do. Let's start with Liam Robbins.
Wait, hold on a second. So you went with the old color scheme.
I switched it back to just white. Because it might affect, I like to keep the theme going of team colors and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So Watson, stud number one is the big guy at Vandy. And look, this is sort of an easy second guess because he's also been hurt a lot. So I'm not being overly critical. But when he was healthy earlier in the year, they needed to play him more minutes.
And us saying that's awful. I mean, how could we be saying that right now?
Well, it's easy.
He looks like an SEC player of the year almost, and he wasn't getting enough minutes early on.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I'm not the only person that has thought this. There are a bunch of people that follow their program that are like, why aren't you playing him more? Well, okay, now the cat's out of the bag. Jerry Stackhouse has no choice, period.
It's do or die.
As long as he stays healthy. Because, look, do I think they're going to the NCAA tournament? No. But this gives them a hope that they have not had in a while. Help me with the wins here. Ole Miss, Tennessee, at Florida.
After losing by nearly 60 at Alabama.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
They got South Carolina Tuesday and then Auburn at home on Saturday. So they've got chances.
You have to beat South Carolina.
You have to.
God awful.
Yeah. Next one, George, college hoops. Indiana keeps it rolling.
Yeah, this was in Ann Arbor. And Watson, this is a great win for Indiana's team.
Yeah. Big time win. And I watched some of that. Indiana's pretty daggum good. What's the kid in the middle? I mean, he's a heck of a player.
Trace Jackson Davis.
Yes. Yeah. Good gracious. He is a really good player. And to throw back on Liam Robbins, that's against one of the best centers in the league.
Yes.
That he scored 32 and 10 on.
And I've got to admit, I didn't see any of the game. Did he and Castleton guard each other?
They did. It was a fun matchup.
Really? Because I would have assumed that Liam Robbins would not have the foot speed to go out with Castleton.
I thought some of the same stuff, but he was stronger than Castleton. He had about 6-7 blocks on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was everywhere. He was the better player.
Yeah, Watson, I'll tell you what it's done. man, it's put some money in his pocket.
Yes, sir, Ray. He's going to play in the NBA.
I think you're right.
He hit a few threes where I was like, what? I mean, he's stepping back, nailing threes. If he keeps doing that, he will definitely have an NBA career.
Stud number 3.
Good.
What else needs to be said?
Nothing.
Watson, how many Super Bowls this guy going to win? This isn't his last one.
Depends on how long Andy stays with him, but I would say 2 more somewhere along the way.
He has not won his last one.
No. He's too good. He's just too good.
He makes it look easy. I mean, he makes the quarterback job look easy.
And yet all 3 of his touchdowns you could have thrown, George. They were that wide open.
Right. They were
that wide open.
Yeah.
And that's Andy Reid. That's
part of that goes back to his coach. And those stats aren't anywhere close to what Jalen Hurts's were, guys.
Yeah.
They weren't. That's not close.
We'll go 3A and 3B.
Northwestern.
How about this one? I watched this, and at no point until about the 3-minute mark did you ever feel like Northwestern could win the game. Yeah, they were hanging anywhere from 3 to 8 points behind, but there was never a scenario where you said, aha, here you go. It caught me by surprise. First of all, Northwestern's going to the NCAA tournament, and I believe I'm right that this would only be the second time in their program's life.
Yep.
Wow.
The first time they beat Vandy in Bryce Drew's first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember where the game was, but anyway.
It was in Salt Lake City.
You know what? I think you're right.
Somewhere out there.
So Northwestern's going to the big dance. This was a resume builder, huge. I still think deep down that Purdue is the best team in the country. If I had to go number 2, I'm going Houston, like about that much over Alabama.
So you think Alabama, you don't think they're the number 1, the true number 1?
Oh, good Lord, no.
It's interesting. I don't think there is a true number 1.
No, there probably isn't, but I've thought for a couple of weeks that Purdue was the closest thing we could get to it because they got a 7'4" center who can bail them out anytime and every time they have an issue.
Yeah, it's unbelievable watching him.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, but the one thing about Purdue here recently, they don't finish games very good.
Mm-mm.
Same thing in Indiana. I mean, they're right there. They're right there. They just don't. I don't know what's missing. But the couple of times I've watched them here lately, which I did watch some of that one, George, too, the Northwestern one, they just don't seem to have a go-to guy when it's time to make a bucket. They got a lot of good players, but and it's hard to have your 7'4" guy your go-to guy.
I was just going to say that when your 7'4" center is your go-to guy, it makes it hard kind of down the stretch when you don't have a guard that can isolate a guy, maybe step back 3. Their guards are good, but they're not elite. You know, they don't have a guard.
The only thing with Purdue that bothers me a little bit is just finishing games here.
Well, they better figure it out because
they ain't got long.
They got a chance. Okay, so we now move to duds.
Yes, we do.
There are some duds.
There is his trouble in the Commonwealth as well.
Oh, Watson, you want me to tell you a great story? So years ago, at a radio station that I worked at that perhaps a lawsuit I was involved in created. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that lawsuit.
Uh-huh. I was kind of a smart aleck. This was yeah, I want to say this may have been Billy Gillespie's second year at Kentucky. And I went on the air one day and announced that I would release Kentucky's pairings in the NIT. Okay. And it was stuff like, it was really well done. Kentucky will open against Southern Illinois. And if they win that game, they'll play the winner of Mississippi Valley State or Texas Pan American. For the right, in the third round to play either Weber State or Utah Valley. I got called more names, more ugly names.
Tickets have been listed at $10.
Oh my God. But you know what? This team doesn't get its butt in gear. They're going to the NIT.
That's where they'll be.
I think they're going to the NIT.
So let me ask this question, because we had them on life support back in January, and then they shocked everybody by going to Tennessee and winning. This looks like when they go to Georgia, you know as well as I do, they've got better talent than Georgia. This looks like a disinterested team to me.
They turn it off and on, off and on. When they want to play, they'll play. When they don't, and they get beat. You know, I mean.
Okay, but what does that tell you about Calipari? That tells me that for the first time that I can remember, look, he's a brilliant recruiter. He's a brilliant motivator. He doesn't coach worth a damn. He's not going to beat anybody in X's and O's. But for the first time, Watson, I think he's lost a team.
They just every time you watch them play, other than the Tennessee game, that night, that afternoon, now they played their hearts out. But for some reason, George, they couldn't climb, they couldn't add to it. I don't know. Sometimes I think you just can stay at a place so long, you just kind of, in today's world, the fans are just not very patient, and they kind of get tired of the voice and the same thing said. And I'm just not sure for him and Kentucky's sake that it might be time to move on.
Okay.
That he moves on and gets a different job.
Okay, let me ask this question. On the flight home from Athens, and I've made that flight home a few times with Vanderbilt teams.
Yeah.
On his
the same
flight,
result.
Yeah. No, actually, a couple of times we won. Athens.
You're talking basketball, not football.
Certainly not football.
No, I never came close in football. In basketball, I do remember a game there where I told somebody we could play this till midnight. We're never going to score. Do you think on the flight home that Calipari allowed himself a moment to say, maybe it is time?
Yeah, I think it's got to be in the back of his mind a little bit. And I don't know John at all. I mean, maybe he's one of those guys that doesn't ever think like that. I don't know. I think he needs something to punch him up a little bit, get him going. And I think Kentucky in the old days of the Dean Smiths and the things like that. But this new world we live in, George, it's different. And the fans now, I think they get restless fast. You see so many new faces every year in your program. You can't say, man, yeah, we did this year, but next year we got all these guys back. They just put a new team out there the next year, then the next year. And Kentucky's been doing this a while.
Oh, a good while.
They've been doing this he's the one that really started all this.
Sure he is.
The one and dones and I just think they're kind of getting tired of it. And I think he knows that. When he lost his cool last year and made statements about football like he did, George, that's just out of character. He's smarter than that to do that. But I just think he lost his cool, and that told me he's struggling.
He's wonder.
Yeah. Let's watch it. I'm kind of with you.
Dud number 2.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
So, Watson, I've got to believe that when Rick Barnes went home Saturday night, he kind of threw his hands up in the air and said, Lord, I don't have the answers about this team. Now, I've become convinced that because they don't have what I would consider just an absolute go-to stud, that they are really starting to struggle on the offensive end. When we talk to Taylor Barnett tomorrow, I'm going to ask him the question, is it possible that what really Tennessee needs right now is to get out of conference, get to the NCAA tournament, and all of a sudden they play people that don't know the book on them the way the SEC teams do, because it looks to me, Watson, that is getting progressively harder and harder for Tennessee as we come down the stretch.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to overdo it, because they could have won both of those games as easy as they lost. Honestly, should have won both those games. I'm just talking about the way the games played out. I mean, you got your best free throw shooter in both games shooting 1-on-1, and he misses them both.
Santiago Vescovi.
Misses them both, George. How many times in the world have you ever seen that happen? I mean, I don't know. I think they're a little snake bit right now, but I don't think they're going to go very far. They just can't create enough offense. They just cannot do it. They cannot do it. And they're going to have one of those games in the tournament where they just shoot 30% or so and just get beat, no matter how good their defense is. I just don't think they're good enough on offense. And I can't really figure out why, because I see some good players. But you said something I had figured out that you're right about. They do not have the go-to guy.
Yeah.
They do not have a create go-to guy. You can't have a creator that's small. Your creator's got to have a little bit of range about him so he can get in the paint and make some plays in there. And they just don't have that guy, in my opinion. Vescovi is not a create your own shot kind of guy, unless he can come off a screen and shoot a three. He's not one to take a dribble and be able to beat you. And I just don't think they got that guy. He's got great defensive players, a lot of length, but he just doesn't have the Miller at Alabama. What's the difference in Alabama and Tennessee? That one kid from Nashville, he's unbelievable. I watched him play at Auburn the other day. Man, is he good. He can do anything.
But I'll also tell you this, Watson, I think Tennessee beats Alabama simply because it's Thompson Bowling and
the awful spot for Bama.
Oh, it is, because Tennessee is chomping at the bit to get this monkey off their back.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'd take Tennessee right now to win that game. I think Tennessee is very good. These last two losses, they're just snake bit.
Oh,
just flat snake bit. And the way they lost to Vanderbilt even was better than the way they lost to Missouri. I mean, that guy's flying down the floor and just throws one up, nothing but net. I mean, and both of them created by missing free throws at a guy that shoots 85%. I mean, go figure. Just go figure.
You can't blame Coach Barnes on really.
Well, he's going to catch the heat, Billy, because he's
going to catch the heat.
He's catching the heat, but with those losses, how much can you really blame him? I mean,
I can blame whoever, but at the same time, I don't put a lot of stock in those two losses, Billy, because he could have won them very easily. Honestly, should have won them. Not because he's the better team, just the way the game was played out. He should have won the games.
Dud number 3.
2-0 this week.
This is a wild story.
If you think you've got problems, think about LSU. This once proud SEC program is the worst in the league right now. They are, I think I'm right, 1-12, 1-11 in the SEC.
They started out 11-1 this season.
Yeah,
they've
good
lost
for them.
12 straight.
Who'd they play?
Sisters of the Poor.
They beat who did they beat a couple decent
Baton
teams.
Rouge Central.
But I did look at their schedule. It was a lot of LSU, Alexandria.
A lot of fluff. Man,
I feel bad.
I feel bad for Matt McMahon.
He's a great coach.
Think he'd like to be back at Murray?
You might put a call into Prom and just say,
"Can I come be your
trading places?" Let's get the fourth one.
Last one, Big Ten country, Ohio State.
Offense.
41.
Really? Ohio State should not be this bad.
They've lost several in a row as well.
Too many resources there.
Very proud basketball program.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna last long. That ain't gonna last long.
No, this guy may not last.
Another
long.
guy, Holtman, who wishes he was probably still at Butler.
Oh gosh, yeah. So, do we want to go ahead and do the plaster bet of the day?
Let's do it if you're ready.
I think it's vitally important.
Riveting. Let's go ahead and get to it. Plaster's Bet of the Day brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. They are lawyers you can trust. Give them a call at 615-242-9000. That's 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, we already saw a little bit earlier, Sean Henry wanted to see it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't believe it, did he?
He sure didn't believe it.
This is a standard of excellence.
He should have been with us from the beginning. He'd probably be surprised. 114 and 113. Yeah. When did you know this might not be the Eagles' night?
The first
on the holding call.
Second half. What was that?
On the holding call. Because I thought the Eagles would get the ball back and go down and either tie or win the game.
I did too. The truth is, his smart aleck answer is the right one.
What were you gonna say though? What were you saying?
The first drive of the second half, when KC went down with virtually
down their throat,
no trouble.
Yeah,
I mean, talk about no resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. Okay, so where are we going tonight?
Little, I don't know if this is Big Monday, but a big game in the Big 12.
Yes. Texas Tech hates Texas.
They sure do.
Watson, you know that. Well, let's also say this. What school in Texas that
doesn't hate Texas?
Yeah.
Zero.
They
all hate them.
Why do you think that is?
They're the blue bloods of the state, man. They're the state university. And believe me, they carry it proudly.
By the way, as we end the show, Texas Tech tonight.
Book it.
No. This is going to be
I was going to say this is going to be a tough one.
It's going to be hard in Lubbock. Late word that Conrad Dobler passes away today at the age of 72. A lot of us remember him from his days with the old St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh yeah,
and then the Saints. You know, used to get the moniker of the dirtiest player in the league.
Oh, by far voted 100% so.
Absolutely. Anyway, Conrad Dobler dead at the age of 72.
Oh,
tomorrow, Tony Basilio will join us. We'll sort of
he needs a therapy session.
Gauge the temperature in Knoxville on the eve.
Also,
I hadn't thought about that. It was the Vols and the Eagles.
I didn't even think about that.
He's going to be more worried.
We may have to. He may be dead in the street somewhere.
We have to get him out of bed.
We may have to get him out of bed. He's in a dark room by himself. He's with Aaron Rodgers in a dark room.
By the way, Rodgers is
What day is this?
It's this week. I heard it somewhere.
If you have to go to the bathroom, are you allowed to turn on a light?
I guess he's got to wait till the next day when the sun's out.
Only you could come up with that one, George.
I mean, it's.
We all got to go.
Okay. So tomorrow.
Today. I guess he started today.
Yeah.
So
good for him.
We'll report back later this week, I guess.
I could make it dark in here, turn off a couple of lights. Taylor Barnett will join us tomorrow as well at 3:00. And then around 3:20, we'll go to New Orleans and try to find out why Derek Carr said no to the New Orleans Saints.
That's a good question.
See you tomorrow, Watson. You behave until then.
I'll try my best. I'm going to stay out of the dark rooms, George.
That's good. Billy?
I'm finally out of the dark room. So
yeah, you are. You look better today.
But from day to day, oftentimes, and we don't know why, little gremlins get into the lights.
Who knows? I might be in the dark room tomorrow.
And then you look like you need to get out in the sun. We'll see you tomorrow.